Welcome back to the Sales Revolution. I'm Ingrid Maynard, founder and managing director of The Sales Doctor. I don't know if you know, but guess what? I've written a book. This is it. I'm so proud of it. It's just a beautiful looking book. There I am, just in case you forgot what I look like on the back, for those of you who are watching on YouTube. But I'll have the details in the show notes if you'd like to go out and purchase that book. It's really what I wanted to talk to you about today in this episode, because I wrote it for a particular purpose, and I wanted to sort of talk you through the journey that I took and the reason for writing the book in the first place. Let me tell you what the book isn't, first and foremost, because it isn't a book about sales techniques or how to do this, or just for salespeople and sales leaders. It's much, much bigger than that. And that's really why I've called it the revolution, because it certainly isn't about tinkering around the edges of old sales models. And it certainly isn't something that is just an evolution even of what's been done before. Where I feel that we are and where we're headed, I don't believe we've got any kind of contextual reference point for. It's unprecedented. And what I mean by that is, when we're in business, we come across certain challenges. And maybe 30 years ago, and I heard the head of the Reserve Bank saying this about the economy at the moment. The closest reference point for the slow economic growth is about 30 years ago in Australia. But we've not just got slow growth, we've got, they're saying it's low inflation, but you ask most households, you ask most businesses, and the costs have never been higher. So I don't know how they're evaluating, shall we say, inflation, but it's very expensive, and that's why they're arguing we need to keep interest rates high as well to dampen down demand. The problem is demand's so low. How do you stimulate that without also stimulating inflation? So we've got that. Now that alone would be enough, and we've got plenty of reference points before in the economy of what that means for business, what that means for salespeople and sales behaviours. But what we also don't have is a situation where we've got salespeople that don't have that deeper skill set. So 30 years ago, we certainly did. We had salespeople that were lauded for their interpersonal skills, for their commercial skills, for their ability to partner with their customers, for their abilities to really create opportunity. Today, what we've got, and it's in direct relation to the fact that we've had about 25 years, thank you Australia, of great positive economic growth. So year on year, apart from 2006, 2007, when we had the GFC, as everyone called it, but that wasn't a recession. And I know we're technically not in a recession either. We're in a per capita recession. Don't you love the definitions? But if you're in business and you've got any kind of association with business, which is most of the people listening, right, you know that this is different. So that doesn't mean that we can't do things. It just means that we need to do things differently. So we've got all of that going on. So we've got a low sales skill set, we've got a superficial sales skill set, we've got order takers, and what I mean by that is we've got salespeople that go to market with their hands out expecting a customer to have all of the answers, tell them what they need, and then all they've got to go away and put together is a proposal or a quote based on that. What salespeople haven't got the skills for, from what I'm noticing, is the ability to diagnose and uncover the root cause of certain issues and then be able to come up with a solution that helps their clients to fix that. And that's where you get that, that mismatch in offer versus what we really need, what's going to make a difference and what's a high priority for the business, whether it's going to address their one or two challenges or help them to achieve their one or two business goals. And then you've got account managers who, for the most part, are glorified order takers, glorified customer service agents. So they're nice, they go out, they engage really, really well with their customer base, but again, they don't see it as an active role. So they don't understand that beyond organic growth, that they have a role to play in helping their portfolio of accounts to grow by creating a new opportunity and understanding how to do that in an existing client. Let's just say they've got maximum share of wallet. They don't also understand that they need to protect and fortify those accounts so that they don't go anywhere and that they're not vulnerable to their competitors. So these are the skill sets that aren't there anymore, that once were there, but we've become fat and lazy in the sales world, in the business world, when it comes to our salespeople, and we've stopped investing in them. And sales training hasn't been done or conducted for about, 20 years, until the last sort of 5 years. That's when I've started to see it ratchet up again. Now, the good news for me, people like me in my space, is that these times people really feel that they need help. I knew that they needed help 10 years ago, but it's a harder argument because the revenue is still coming in, but you lift up the hood, and I'm really good at getting to root cause. So I could see that it wasn't going to be long and there was going to be a problem, Houston. But while there isn't a problem, Houston, that's really obvious, or it's, the flashing red lights, people don't want to invest in doing anything to even prevent that. So they're more interested in fixing rather than prevention, which is fine, but we're in the fixing stage now. Now, even if we fixed all of that, that's not enough, because what we've also got is downstream issues in the business and further along the value chain. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that sales can be doing a really great job bringing in the business, hitting targets, maybe even exceeding targets, and then something will happen in the availability of a product, in the production cycle, or in the delivery of that product, or even in the ongoing usage of that product, or it might even be with finance. It might be with somewhere else in the business that creates a disconnect, or it creates or erodes the trust that's been developed, usually over years, by a salesperson with a company. And that might have nothing to do with sales. And yet where there's the inability, or it affects the trust that the client has in the business, it affects the salesperson's ability to do what they really need to do, which might be to grow ongoing business, or it might be about retention, or it might be about, getting referrals, or it might be about, opening up opportunity in other areas in that client account business. There's all of that. And so when sales ends up being affected, the finger's always pointed back at sales, but actually it points to some other things downstream. I'm not taking anything away from the responsibility that salespeople have for their results, but there needs to be an appreciation that we need to support sales elsewhere in the business by everyone understanding the role that they play in contributing to the economic and financial value and functional value and emotional value back to the business. And so that is why I wrote The Sales Revolution, because I talk about, one of my models is about the culture of customer. And when that is present in an organisation, that's when you start to unlock the real potential for that business to just go nuts and to really not only maintain their client base, but also to deliver value in unexpected ways, and to also really understand how lots of roles within the business are all contributing to the financial and economic viability of the business. What do I mean by that? Okay, let's go back to culture of customer. So culture of customer is when two things are present. It's the intersection between what I call having customer consciousness, which is where everyone understands that they have a customer and are a customer and that they deliver value to those customers. And then the commercial competence, which is understanding what that measure of value is. And am I delivering positive value or negative value to those customers that I serve? When we understand that and we are able to get that down to a number of the type of value that they're delivering back to the business, everything changes in a business. And it really becomes a business that you can't replicate easily because every business is unique, but you become even more you when you undertake the sales revolution. But also you start to see one another differently. And the value that's delivered is delivered differently and communicated differently because it's visible for the first time. Let me give you another example. Let's take HR as that example. Now, HR, if it's doing its job well, act as an internal consulting service into the business. And you might go, well, yeah, okay, big deal, whoopee. Well, it is whoopee actually, because what HR does, if it's doing a really great job, is it's establishing ways of saving the business significant amounts of money in external recruitment or over-recruitment because it's done right the first time. The onboarding process is done. The induction process is done really well. They're partnering with their business partners, the leadership team really well. They're able to get to the root cause of issues. So they're either saving money or they're helping the business to deliver even more revenue creation in other ways in the business. And that is usually unseen value. It's taken for granted. And the costs of getting it wrong or when it's not working effectively, when you don't have an HR team that truly partners with its business leaders and has the skills to really drill into what it can really create, the costs are also phenomenal. And you won't necessarily see it. The costs are hidden, and when it's done really well, the value's hidden, and that's a real shame. So my book here is really about a revolution, and I say it's a revolution because it's a totally different paradigm of operating. What I am saying, which might be a bit uncomfortable, is that I believe that when a company adopts this, it will future-proof itself. When a company fails to do that or just sees that all it needs to do is improve its top line, its margin, and everything else will take care of itself, but it's all through sales, then it's really missing the other opportunity. And I would also argue downstream, it's going to really negatively impact the future viability of that business. So the way that I've structured the book is I really go into a lot more depth about the problem, about what I propose the solution is, what the sales revolution is and why it's different, what it isn't. And I go into a lot of comparison about how you might go, oh, isn't that just customer centricity? Oh, isn't that just mapping the customer journey? No, it isn't. It's totally different. And I explain why it's different. And then I take you by the hand and I walk you through how to adopt that methodology into your business and what that can look like. There's lots of examples in there. There's lots of case studies in there without giving too much away. And what I would thoroughly recommend is that you take some time. It's a pretty easy read. That doesn't mean it's simple, but it is easy to read, which I'm also proud of, which means that you can get through it in a weekend for sure, and then you can start to have different conversations at an executive level about how you might think about adopting the sales revolution. So as Molly Meldrum used to say, do yourself a favour, go out there and buy my book. You can access the book at the moment on my website, which is thesalesdr.com.au, which will also be in the show notes. And you can even read the first chapter to get a taste of what the book's about for free by just going onto my website and see if that's something that you want to invest in. With that, I'll say goodbye and I'll talk to you another time. Okay, you've been listening to The Sales Revolution. I'm Ingrid Maynard. And to find out how the Sales Doctor can help your organisation to transform its revenue, growth and profit, please email me at ingrid@thesalesdoctor.com.au. Visit us on our website at www.thesalesdoctor.com.au. I look forward to your company next episode. Bye for now.